guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad everyone stopped by today because today we are finally doing another Pokemon video. I know I've had you guys waiting forever for one, and I'm finally back with a Pokemon, and today's Pokemon is going to be Leafeon, one of Eevee's evolutions. If you guys have any other Pokemon that you want to see me make sure to leave comments down below on which ones you want. I'm going to hopefully get to more of them. It's just been a busy schedule lately, and yeah, you know how life is. Everything comes up. Anyways, let's get started. Okay guys, the first thing we're going to be doing is starting on the sewing, so I'm going to be showing you the pattern that I drew out for this particular piece. Now this pattern is pretty basic. You can honestly make a lot of different creatures with this. Anything really dog or cat shaped can be made with this pattern. You can see I have the head with the ears connected still, along with the body and the tail right now. And then here we have the chest and belly piece, along with a few things that I'm going to be using to make some tufts of green fur on the body. So I'm going to get all my fabric cut out and then I'm going to show you all the different pieces. Okay, I have all the pieces cut out and you can kind of get a good idea of what the body is going to look like. I have the little brown pieces for the feet, and then I have the green bits for his ears and the tip of his tail. And then here's a better look at the chest and belly piece, along with the inside parts of the legs and all the different tufts of fur we're going to be making. Now since this piece is kind of small and the legs are really thin, I'm going to be doing all the sewing by hand. Since I'm going to be sewing by hand and that's really time consuming, I'm really not going to be showing you the sewing part, but I'm going to be showing you how the different pieces connect slowly together. So the first bit of sewing that I did was I sewed the brown socks onto the feet, and then I sewed the front of all of the legs together. After that, I'm going to take the chest and belly piece and I'm going to sew that to each half of the body. And then with the tail, I sewed the green parts to the brown base of the tail, and then I'm going to be sewing around the whole thing and then flipping it right side out. I did the same thing with the ears. Now to get some extra detail in the tail and ears, I'm going to be taking my trimmer and I'm going to be shaving the sides down. After that, I'm going to be taking my sewing machine and I'm going to sew some lines into the tail and probably the ears as well to add some veins into it, because Leafeon's tail actually does have some leaf veins running through it. So I'm going to try and make it look like it has those as well. And then to finish off the ears, I'm going to take some felt that I cut out for the inside parts of the ears and I'm going to glue it onto those sides. Now the rest of the sewing we're going to save for when we put the piece together, so we're going to start on the clay now. Now for the clay, we're going to keep it really simple. We just need to do the face. So I'm going to do some nice big eyes along with a small little nose. So I'm going to start and cover up my area with clay, and then I'm going to start building up the shape of the face. After I have a rough shape of how I want the face to be, I'm going to lay out where the eyelids are going to be, and then we're going to start sculpting the eyes and then adding the nose. Once we have the sculpting to where we want it, we're going to take this and put it in the oven at 275 Fahrenheit for roughly about probably 35 to 45 minutes. Now, a few of you guys were wondering if I take the face off of the glass piece before I bake it, and I don't need to do that. This is oven safe, so I can bake it the way it is right now. After our clay face is out of the oven, we can start on the painting. It's really simple. The first thing we're going to do is paint the nose a nice solid black. And then we're going to move on to the eyes and start layering different colors of browns into them to try and get it to look like it's shading from light to dark. After this paint dried, I took my black paint and I made the pupil of the eye, and then I started adding some white here and there to make a little bit of a reflective look. Now, after my paint dried, I put a layer of resin over everything to protect it. Now, if you don't want to use resin, you can go get a spray-on sealant or a varnish to put over the paint. I really don't like doing this because I just find the resin is a lot more sturdier, but if you don't want to mess with it, that's another solution you can do as well. Okay, now I'm going to move on to making the wire frame for Leafeon. The wire I use for my wire frames is a 14 gauge galvanized steel. I get this at my hardware store, but I'm sure you can probably order it online somewhere. It's actually pretty cheap. I get a big bundle of it for like $8, and this lasts for quite a bit of creatures. Now, for the legs, I took 2 strips of wire and I bent them into the shape of the body. And then for the spine, I took another long piece of wire and I bent it into the rough idea of what the tail and the neck and the body would end up being. I'm going to take a thinner wire and wrap all of these together, and then we're going to put a layer of hot glue over everything to help keep it together. The wire I'm using for this is, I believe, a 20 gauge. You can go a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger, but I don't recommend going anywhere too far away from 20 gauge. And it really doesn't matter. I usually just get crafting wire for this. After our wire frame is put together, I'm going to glue on the tail. And then I'm going to glue on the face. I'm going to take the body that we sewed ahead of time and I'm going to flip it right side out and start stuffing all of the legs. And then we can push the wire frame into the legs. I find it's easier to stuff the legs before putting the wire in, just because the wire gets in the way and you could get lumps. And I just like to get it nice and packed and then push the wire in. Now we're going to start working on attaching the fur to around the face. So I'm going to be sewing on a small little square to the chest so we can connect it to the chin. And then I'm going to take the fabric that we have the ears connected to and I'm going to sew those on to the body as well. So this is what it looks like right now. It looks like he has little wingy things right now. And we're going to take the fabric and we're going to glue it around the base of the face. I'm going to start taking smaller strips of fur and start covering the rest of the face in fur. Now my ears aren't really standing up very well, so I'm going to take a strip of wire and run it through the ears and then glue that to the back of the head. That way the ears have a wireframe as well. Lastly, we're going to start stuffing the rest of the body and then sewing it closed. Okay, here's how our body looks right now, and we just need to start adding the tufts of green fur onto it. After that, the only thing I really did was I touched up the fur by shaving the fronts of the legs here and there, and added a little bit of highlight to it. Okay guys, and here is Leafeon. I think it came out really good. I really like how this part came out. I know it's more of like a question mark kind of symbol, but I think it still looks like that. It's just a bit more fluffy. I did end up changing the tufts of fur on his legs and his chest because with it being fur like the tail, it was just making the front half of him a little overwhelming. So I changed it up and used felt to try and thin out his body there. I think he came out good. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, leave a like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.